What's going on, YouTube? As you guys know, last week I dropped a short horror film called Who Goes There, and I just wanted to thank everyone who watched it, shared it, commented on it, everything. I really appreciate all of you. So this week what I want to do is do a breakdown of some of the things in the film and talk about it, and some of the tricks that I used to make this little short horror. Alright, let's get into it. The hell?
Babe? You home?
I must have voiced this thing over like 3 or 4 times fully because I wasn't happy with the way I was voice acting and everything. So I think I went through like 3 or 4 times to get the perfect, I wouldn't even say it was perfect, but good enough dialogue. I would say this film had about 6 shots in it altogether, but it looks like one long shot. And what I did to mask some of the cuts are pretty much on the quick pans when I would turn really fast. What I would do is end the scene on the quick pan and then start the next one on a quick pan and cut right in the middle of the 2 pans, so that way it just seamlessly looks like it keeps going. But I did that about, I would say, maybe 5 or 6 times, so that's a good way to kind of mask some of your cuts if you're trying to go for a one long take.
Where'd she go? Hey. Hey, you in here?
And all the sounds in this as well, all the sound is done in post. I think probably 95% of the sound was done afterwards, recorded afterwards, and then all put in. And thank you to Tyler Falcoa for doing awesome mixing job, because I wouldn't have been able to do it myself. So right here, there was a cut. On the quick pan, what I did was I quick panned, and then I cut it. And then when we started the next scene and figured out what we're gonna do, I started with a quick pan so that I would cut in the middle of the pan so that it just looks like I turned, but really there is a cut in there. So that way it just seamlessly looks like it keeps going. But I did that about, I would say, maybe 5 or 6 times. So that's a good way to kind of mask some of your cuts if you're trying to go for a one long take.
Oh no. Are you kidding me?
In this scene, my wife pretty much was underneath and hit the light switch to turn it off, so it looked like the lights went out, and then she ran to the door and hid there, and by the time it was at my mark, she was at the door staring and then shut the door quickly. So figuring out and planning how your scene's gonna go and blocking it to know where everyone's point is gonna be when they hit it is really important, but we must have done that probably 6 or 7 times just getting that part right. For some reason, when she slammed the door, I didn't react with the camera a lot. I just stood there instead of having a reaction being in the first person, so I kept messing that up, so we had to just keep doing it over again.
Hey.
So this part where she grabs me and throws me, how we did that was pretty much she grabbed the camera and then did the throwing motion. And pretty much I had her freeze and I walked backwards with the camera, bringing it up and then bringing it down to the floor. And then what I did was I sped that up so that it looked like she was throwing me backwards, and you speed it up right at the right time so it looks like I'm flying through the air. And then I put a little bit of a radial blur to make it look like I was moving fast. And then what I did was I got on the floor, held the camera in front of me, and then flung backwards, and I masked the cut in the movement so that pretty much it looks like I just landed on the floor and got back up, and there's a little cut when I moved to the floor. And it's pretty simple to do, but that's how we did that effect. A lot of this film, and I feel like horror films in general, is sound and atmosphere. And I think that the most important thing to have is good sound, and a way to sell it is good sound, because this short isn't anything spectacular visually. It's interesting, but the sound, I think, is what's bringing it a little bit higher than... My eyes itchy. But I think the sound is what really helped it bring it up a level, and good sound can really sell good horror.
What the fuck is going on?
Obviously, the twist at the end is that it's not really her, and she walks in the door. And pretty much, again, all I did was quick pans and cut on the quick pans in both shots and make it look seamless. And the key is to pretty much do the same movement in both shots so that it seems seamless and just looks like it's one shot. And the last part where I see her face is creepy as hell to me, and her eyes change. That was just in After Effects, cutting out a mask around her eyes and tracking it, and then putting a little bit of a reflection on it. So I want to talk about some of the lighting that I did for this. This was very minimal lighting setup, and I used one of my lights in the living room to cast an ambient moonlight kind of into the kitchen. And then when I first walk in, the lights above in the hallway, I actually softened with taped computer paper around them. I just took a white piece of paper and taped it onto it to diffuse it a little bit. And there was a little bit of light in the bedroom just off the wall in the corner to give the moonlight, give it a little bit of light. But really that's it. And then the flashlight being a lot of it as well, because the hallway lights go out. So it was very minimal lighting setup, and it was just kind of getting creative with how I can work with what I have. Overall, a lot of the things I did in this film are simple. They're just different ways of doing it, and it's a good way to get creative, but a lot of it's simple and easy to do as long as you execute it right. So I had a lot of fun making this, and I'm glad everybody is liking it so far. So I really appreciate all you guys watching. If you have any more questions about anything I did in the short, comment, let me know. But I really appreciate it again, and I don't know what to say. I don't have an outro. I'm just gonna say like, comment, subscribe, yada yada yada, and I will see you all in the next video.